the regular town board meeting of the Webster government for Thursday, February 18th. Say the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, Dolly, can we do roll, please?
Supervisor Flaherty.
Here.
Councilwoman Capaldi.
Present.
Councilman Cahill.
Present.
Councilman Abbott.
Here.
Councilman Dean.
Aye, here. Now, I gotta tell you, there's almost a feel of normalcy in the building tonight. We're all socially distanced and everything, but we have some guests that we're gonna be doing some proclamations for. Makes me feel like we're getting closer and closer to when COVID is past us and we can have open board meetings and the public is here and all that. So, the first order of business tonight, and I want to make sure I have this correct, is two young men are going to have a proclamation for outstanding community service. And anybody who is watching might have, if they got the Webster Herald today, this was highlighted in there. And I would like to come up to the podium right now, Caleb and Randy. And guys, before we read this, if you could, just kind of tell the board and watching the public a little bit about what you've done in the last year with your business during COVID. Sure. Jump right in.
We are a local healthy meal prep service. We provide weekly pre-portioned, ready-to-eat meals for our customers. And when COVID hit, we got really, really busy. We saw a really significant increase in sales. So I kind of was looking at a way to possibly kind of give back to the community, and I had seen some other groups on Facebook and other people who had been doing different types of donation services for people, and I just reached out to them and kind of started it that way with other community members that felt similarly that they should kind of help others that are in need and stuff. So it kind of started out with essential workers primarily, people that were still at work, healthcare workers, etc. And then it kind of just evolved into whatever was clever, like, police officers, firefighters, homeless shelters, anything we could think of for a given week. And we're still at it. We generally try to do at least 50 to 100 or so donated meals each week, because it's food that we may have left over that would have otherwise gotten thrown away. So we want to make sure it's going to a good home.
Thank you. Yeah. And guys, I'm going to read this off. First of all, I got to say that if I eat healthy, can I look like you guys? 4 months
Take some time. But,
okay, I was going to say, could it take off about 25 or 30 years too? Okay, so whereas the town of Webster is honored to recognize citizens and business owners who demonstrate exemplary service to our community and a profound dedication to making Webster where life is worth living, and whereas Caleb Hogue, owner of Savage Chef Kitchen, sought a way to give back to our essential workers, first responders, and healthcare professionals during the pandemic, and whereas Caleb and his staff, including Director of Operations Randy Donahue, began preparing and donating free healthy meals to organizations including our Webster Police, EMS, and fire departments, and whereas the Savage Chef has donated over 6,000 meals across our community over the past 11 months and continues to provide an average of 150 free meals every week. Now, therefore, be it resolved that by the power invested in me as the supervisor and on behalf of the town board, we recognize the exemplary actions of Caleb and his staff and hereby proclaim Friday, February 19, 2021 as Savage Chef Day in the town of Webster. Thank you, guys. Great work. All right. Now, I'm going to guess that Caleb and Randy are probably, well, they're younger than me, and younger than the board, and it's seeing young entrepreneurs also being as philanthropic, good future ahead. Good future ahead. It's easy for us old guys to say, oh, these young guys today, Fantastic. Next up, I'm going to hand the baton over to Deputy Supervisor Patty Cataldi for a proclamation that I still can't believe.
If they move their podium that way, will you not be able to see? I don't care. Oh, okay.
Joe, would you like to join me at the podium? Do you want Mary to join us? Would you like Mary to join us? Sure. Mary's shaking her head. No. Okay. All right. I am extremely honored and somewhat saddened to be reading this proclamation for outstanding public service presented to Joe Herbst. Whereas on February 26th, Superintendent Joe Herbst will retire from our Webster Highway Department after over 30 years of dedicated service to our community. And whereas Joe began working for the town of Webster's Highway Department in 1988, rising through the ranks from machinery and equipment operator to drainage foreman. He also served on the town's planning and conservation boards before becoming superintendent in 2008. And whereas from the beginning Joe's work ethic, boundless energy, and encyclopedia of knowledge have changed the way the highway department operates and helped foster a supportive environment where creativity and ingenuity flourish like never before. And whereas Joe applied his inventiveness and creativity to improve efficiency and break away from the status quo, even if it got him in trouble. His ability to think outside the box has led to over $4 million in grants for his department. And whereas Joe's management and organizational style have shaped the department into a model for municipal sustainability, and his unique binder system is one we all strive to emulate. Whoever wrote this knows you very well. I think so. I didn't have any part in writing this, I just want you to know. Joe's philosophy that the highway department is not just a job, but a way of life, will continue on with generations of employees he has mentored over the last 3 decades. Therefore, be it resolved that by the power invested in me, the supervisor, and on behalf of the town board, we proudly honor Joe's years of dedicated service to our residents and hereby proclaim Friday, February 26, 2021, is Joe Herbst Day in the town of Webster. Congratulations, Joe. We're happy for you.
No, I'm good. I'm good. It's not just me. It's not just me. It's the highway behind me. Obviously, I'm just the point man, but it takes all the workforce behind that makes me look good. And the board as well being in the same direction. So it's a team effort, without a doubt. I just have to be the point man and call me Brady. What can I say? That's the way it is. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe.
Thank you. Thank you all.
And I will say that this is not the last you're going to see of Mr. Herbst. He will be back here next Thursday night for his parting gift to the town board at our workshop. I did not interpret it that way. But I know that in the little over a year that I've gotten to know Joe, almost from day one, he talked about a townwide drainage district. And
I talked about a lot of things.
Yes, you did. And so next week he'll be doing a presentation for us on his second to last day of work. And I would like to think that with some of the precedents that have happened in the past, your successor, Mr. Dean, left the highway department and became a town board member. Barb Scott, who just retired this past year as town clerk, came back in a part-time function to do lead a project for us. I got my eyes on you. Get your house built, and then we're going to talk. All right? And Patty,
You'll be
thank
busy.
you for reading that and slipping in that was on behalf of the supervisor. But Deputy Supervisor Cataldi read that because she is the liaison to the Highway Department, and I think we all felt that was appropriate for her to present that to you.
Thank you.
So, okay. Well, next is I'm going to just say that as we do a resolution to appoint Webster's next police chief, I want to just say that the process that was adhered to over the last 2+ months that led to Dennis Colemeyer's hiring, I have said to many people in this room, I've been involved in a lot of hiring processes over my 30+ years professionally. I've never been more proud of the collaborative effort of the town board and various department heads, acting chief Brad Fosdick. It was an incredible effort of teamwork, and I think it resulted in what I feel is the perfect hire to be the Webster police chief at this time in history. So the first order of business is Mr. Colemeyer and his beautiful family are about to come in, is that I'm proposing a resolution to appoint Dennis Colemeyer, Webster Police Department's chief as of March 1st, 2021.
Second.
Supervisor Flaherty?
Aye.
Councilman Dean?
Aye.
Councilman Abbott?
Aye.
Councilman Cahill?
Aye.
Councilwoman Cataldi?
Aye.
Now, people have heard me say this with certain proclamations, honorees, retirees. COVID has robbed us of the proper pomp and circumstance that people deserve. And I've said that we will, once COVID clears, we're going to have a shindig. Joe, you'll be at it, I hope, because it's going to be for the... That's right. I just can't say when it's going to be because we don't know when COVID is going to be gone to the point that we can have a big get-together. But along those lines, Dennis is going to have a proper swearing-in with the honor that it deserves. But for tonight, in a private ceremony with his family and here with the board, we are going to do a swearing-in of new chief Dennis Colemeyer. So, come on over to the podium. And you guys gotta come up here. You gotta come up. All right? So, Jack, I don't know if we can reach you up to that. I don't know if we can get you up there and give us the news of the day of your neighbor. But we'll hold out on that. But Dennis, your wife's deaf, and I don't remember my kid's name, so we have Charlie, and Jack. Okay. Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, Stephanie, I would like to hold the Bible, and you raise your right hand. Dennis, would you repeat after me? I, Dennis Colemeyer, do solemnly swear. I, Dennis Colemeyer, do solemnly swear. That I will support the Constitution of the United States. And the Constitution of the State of New York. And that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of Webster Police Chief. According to the best of my ability. Thanks, Dennis. All right. And Jack, were you impressed? Yeah. I think it is, yeah.
I'd actually first want to start thank Supervisor Flaherty and the board for the opportunity. I retired 2 years ago, wasn't sure if I'd ever be back, and I relish the opportunity to come back and rejoin the force and help the town progress into the next phase. So I appreciate the opportunity and I look forward to get started.
Thank you. Sure. Thanks, Dennis. Wouldn't it be great to have that energy again? All right, now we're,
Were you talking Caleb or Jack?
I was,
Facebook today had a kid almost exactly looking like that doing a dance to the Jailhouse Rock out at a wedding in a room like this. He did the whole thing, the whole song.
what's old is new again, Barry.
Yeah.
And now we gotta get back to the mundane part of the meeting, I guess. We had one set of board minutes that were sent out to the board this past week for the February 4th meeting. I make a motion that we approve those minutes.
Second.
Supervisor Flaherty?
Aye.
Councilman Cahill?
Aye.
Councilman Caldey?
Aye.
Councilman Abbott?
Aye.
Councilman Dean?
Aye.
I must have been playing hooky again this week because I don't remember who was in to look at the bills. Was you? Okay.
I reviewed the bills, and everything was in order. I would move that we pay them.
Second.
Councilman Caldey?
Aye.
Councilman Cahill?
Aye.
Supervisor Flaherty?
Aye.
Councilman Abbott?
Aye.
Councilman Dean?
Aye.
And I did review the prepaid warrants as submitted by the Director of Finance, and I make a motion that they be approved.
Second.
Supervisor Flaherty?
Aye.
Councilman Dean?
Aye.
Councilman Abbott?
Aye.
Councilman Cahill?
Aye.
Councilwoman Caldey?
Aye.
I'm kind of sad that my friend Charlie's not here, because anytime there's a resolution that has nunc pro tunc in it, I go to my Latin teacher, the Honorable Charlie Genesi, but he is out and about. Is this something, Joe, that you may be able to explain in layman terms before we do the
Are
resolution?
these for the stop signs? Yeah, it's standard procedure for the county. That's something that they have to, or have passed by the town, because they're usually town subdivision intersections at a county road. County trumps jurisdiction, so this is standard.
Yeah.
Had to be Latin.
Right. And for the non-parochial school people, geez, I don't even really, Charlie is best to describe nunc pro tunc. I better not take a shot at this. In layman terms, because the county went and popped in these stop signs, which we definitely wanted them there, usually the way government works, the process is the board does a resolution to say, yes, let's put in stop signs, and the stop signs go in after the board does that. Well, in this case, the cart was done before the horse, or the stop signs went in before our resolution. It was the intent the whole time to have the stop signs go in, so this is a resolution just to
Get caught up, and safety first, obviously.
The Latin expression is actually translated to now for then.
Well, thank you, Pat. Is that what it now
What does it translate?
Now for then.
Oh,
So it applies to a retroactive
Okay.
action.
how apropos.
It's all Greek to me. Anyway.
Hopefully it's Latin to you.
Yeah, so I make a motion to consent nunc pro tunc to the placement of traffic control devices by the County of Monroe Department of Transportation pursuant to authority granted by Section 1651 and 1652A of the New York State Vehicle and Traffic Law at the following locations: a stop sign eastbound at Francesco Way and 5 Mile Line Road, a stop sign westbound Grand Meadow Way at Phillips Road, a stop sign eastbound Hills Pond Road and Gravel Road, a stop sign southbound Creekfield Drive and State Road, and a stop sign southbound Creek's Edge Drive and Lake Road.
Supervisor Flaherty?
Aye.
Councilman Abbott?
Aye.
Councilman Dean?
Aye.
Councilman Cahill?
Aye.
Councilwoman Capelli?
Aye.
And I think anybody watching or whatever, if they went out tonight, which I hope they don't with the snow, those stop signs are all there. And we're happy they are. All right. The next order of business, where Art Patrone and Rick Canale from the sewer department are not here tonight. I said they didn't need to come in at 7:30 because this is something that last week at our workshop, Art was in discussing. Patty and myself and Paul Adams had accompanied Art to the Vosburg pump station, I think, was it 2 Fridays ago?
2 weeks ago tomorrow, yes.
So, at our workshop last week, I think everybody, once Art presented what is there and what needs fixing, he asked if we would do a resolution tonight for him to go out and do a request for proposal from engineering firms for that pump station. So, does the board have any questions about that?
I think the detailed explanation along with the visuals that was supplied were more than sufficient. And this is definitely, this RFP for that pump station is sorely needed.
Yeah.
I think we're all on the same page as far as that goes.
Does this mean I did not have to tour the pump station? I could have just looked at the pictures?
It kind of
You don't get the
does.
full effect unless you're like really in there.
I had the full effect.
You know, if anybody's ever interested in their life of being a town board member, I want you to just take a look over at Deputy Supervisor Cataldi and know that she goes to pump stations and sewer plants and gets right down there to see what's going on. So it's a very prestigious and
Oh, it's one of,
wonderful
it's
thing.
one of the
It's all fun and games.
bennies of being the liaison to
Yep.
sewer, you bet.
She did not get the chance last week to explain her ride in the truck either.
I
because
did
you
not,
guys
I
went to it.
also, let's do this resolution, and maybe I'll talk
Yeah,
about
that'd
that.
be
Okay.
good. All right. Well, then I make a motion for the approval to allow the sewer department to release an RFP for engineering services at the Vosburg pump station for mechanical work.
Second.
Supervisor Flaherty?
Aye.
Councilwoman Capelli?
Aye.
Councilman Cahill?
Aye.
Councilman Abbott? Councilman Dean?
Aye. Aye.
Well, let it rip, Patty. You got to tell the world about your.
I had the opportunity to cross something off my bucket list a couple weeks ago. I did a ride-along for 4 hours in a town snowplow with one of our awesome drivers, Tony Anello.
They're all awesome.
They are all awesome. I'd like to go with each and every one of them at some point. It was a real education, I've got to say. It was a thrill. And Tony was very patient in explaining everything that goes into his job, and it's absolutely amazing to watch him operate that huge truck. And I actually texted Joe while we were driving,
And video.
and I sent him video as well.
I got it too.
Yeah, and you asked for it, so you should show your grandson. I now appreciate why he is so against cul-de-sacs in developments. Because it takes probably as long to clear one cul-de-sac as it took us to travel Lake Road from 250 to the outlet, at least.
Wow.
You really have no concept. December 27, 2012, when we had the 16 inches of snow, took 11 and a half hours for one run through town. 4.5 hours was in cul-de-sacs.
Yeah, yeah, and you know, for everything that people say about the snowplow coming by and dumping snow in their driveway, Tony was as meticulous as he could possibly be not to dump it in driveways and be careful where he was putting it and which, I mean, it was just really incredible. So thank you for that opportunity, for arranging that. I was really very grateful to do
It
that.
is. It's an experience.
Those new trucks are kind of like riding in a spaceship, aren't they?
They certainly are.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, he apologized for the bumpy ride at points. I'm like, my husband's Toyota is bumpier than this. And just everything that's going on at the same time. He's plowing and the salt is pausing and not going back on, and it was,
And now they have
Impressive.
all automatic transmissions.
and that's what he was telling me, how it used to be standard. And I don't know how you could possibly be operating all of those controls and clutch and brake and, oh my
Well,
goodness.
we had that conversation today with a couple of the new guys, because, and I was started 30 years ago, they were all sticked, and they're non-synchro mesh trannies, so it's double clutch, first, neutral, or first, neutral, second, neutral, third, neutral, fourth, neutral, fifth, and it's all double clutching all the way up and all the way down the tree. There's no skipping gears.
Yeah.
So you as the driver would have the window down, be sweating bullets from your physical activity, and your wingman would be freezing over there because you got the window down. But like Barry said, it's all cockpit friendly now. Everything is
Yeah.
driver friendly. There's onboard video, the cameras as far as visual, like you saw, especially
Right.
when he backs up. You might
Right.
not have seen the cameras
Yes.
up top, but they've come a long way. I mean, I
Yeah,
have.
they all actually have power steering.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. And instead of having to turn the sander on, which I had to do down here on the floor every single time you wanted to turn it on,
Press it, yeah.
now it's all computerized, it's all
Yes.
generated, and unbeknownst to the drivers, we had set the upper parameters years ago. We had new computers, and I had set them at 29 miles an hour, 30 miles an hour, they're going to error code. And we never told, the foreman and myself knew it, but none of the drivers did. So the first run out, they're all saying, I got error code 11. I'd get on the radio and say, slow down. Number two would come in 10 minutes later, I got error code 11, slow down. Didn't take but about 5 minutes to figure out that we had set upper parameters on the computers, so it sends it into error code. So they know now, and so it's another cognitive effort on their part to really maintain and watch their speed so that the salt stays targeted to the road. And I had that conversation today with the state trooper and a Monroe County Sheriff Sergeant regarding speed, because we had one of them that said that they had gotten report that we're doing 55 miles an hour in a subdivision. I said, it's physically impossible.
I think not.
There's some division called 404.
Physically impossible. So technology has changed in 3 decades, and I remember, taking over, we had a lot of Mutton Just, we had Brockways and Max and Internationals, Fords, we had everything, and now we're trying to standardize so that a driver, if he has to hop from truck to truck, everything is unique.
The only improvement that probably is a questionable improvement is the halogen lights, because Tony had to get out several times and clear off the lights because they don't get warm, so the snow doesn't melt. It just
Right.
starts to accumulate on them.
Yeah, exactly, and you can't see.
Right.
So actually, the newer trucks now have actually no different than you have a heating element in your windshield. The lights have heating elements in
Okay.
the headlights because LED burns so cool, it's not hot enough to burn.
Yeah,
the
yeah,
snow.
that's it, the LEDs, yeah.
At one time, we had all Sterlings, but they stopped making them.
I think I might have just had a V8 moment. You drove these trucks, didn't you?
I did.
See, I always think of you as the
Back when they
boss.
didn't have power steering.
Or heat. Heat.
Or heat. Oh, the Brockways were incredible. They were great, solid trucks. They were good plow trucks because they had double frames. And they were a good, solid
So
truck, but even the brand new ones, the heaters in them were,
It was nothing to scrape ice off the windshields.
We
on
actually-
the inside.
Inside, sure.
Yeah.
my driver and I, when we rode together in this one truck, we actually had a candelabra that we
Get
put
outta
on,
here.
that we put on the dash. And that's how we kept the window.
For heat.
Wow.
No, to keep it defrosted.
Yeah, for heat.
It's like driving an old Volkswagen.
Yeah, right, yeah.
Nice ambiance inside the cab.
Yeah.
You gotta love it, though.
Little Liberace
You gotta
music
love
with
it.
it.
And I learned something when I was at the garage 2 weeks ago. Is it truly called the Webster Cut?
Yeah.
Do you want to
I-
explain that?
The Webster what?
Well,
Well, wait till you hear
again,
this, because Webster, we lost out on some good revenue. We should have gone for a patent. Please
Yeah.
explain.
Actually, it was myself, one of the ingenuitive things, and I could probably tell the year as well. But we kept getting mailboxes, and it was always the tip of the wing hitting the mailboxes, not the snow. So I took it upon myself to get the torches and welder out, and I literally cut the back tip of the wing off, cut the frame out, heated up, and folded down and welded the tip down, so it actually had, I removed about 6 inches of the tip of the wing. And I can remember Jerry,
That's a long time ago.
early 90s, and Jerry went AWOL on me because I modified something without his approval and their consent. But the knockdown, or from the hitting the mailboxes, I knew based on the height what mailboxes I could skate under. I had Lake Road run for 11 years, and I knew what ones I could skate under and what ones I couldn't. And as soon as I knocked and welded that tip down, there wasn't barely a mailbox I couldn't go under. And shoving that back during an event makes all the difference in the world on the time it buys you for that snow creeping back into the driving lane. So we started modifying a lot of the wings that way, and now they actually manufacture the wings at Tanco, and they call it the Webster cut. Other towns have picked up on this.
No
Because
kidding.
you don't
Think
lose
about that.
anything in the
That's
throw.
We
You
had
know
a
that,
lot-
Paul? Did you know that, that they now manufacture it with the cutout? Yeah, and we could have had the patent.
Well, Joe, you could have a piece of that.
have royalties.
Shoulda, woulda, pulda, coulda.
We had a lot of firsts. Our department had a
We
lot of
have.
firsts. Some of the trucks that we plow with, or that we did plow with, were first of their kind. We got together with the manufacturer and designed them.
The 750s.
Yep.
First one with wings.
550s, the 750s. We were the first in the area to use the de-icers, the liquid de-icers that everyone is using now. We've had a lot of firsts at that department. All through
Webster
just
cut.
ingenuity of the
And-
department.
Isn't that
Yeah,
amazing?
it is.
That's pretty
It's very
cool.
creative.
Necessity.
And one of the nice parts is that even this winter, or this summer, we get calls all the time from other states, Ohio, Michigan, and this summer I got a call from a superintendent in Alaska, asking about our snow removal ops. So obviously,
I was actually on a committee where there was guys from Alaska, Colorado, Virginia.
yeah,
It was something. The one fellow
It's
was
proud.
from the state of Washington. I asked him, how much snow do you get? And he says, well, at the bottom of Mount
whatever it is.
Washington, or whatever it is, he says, about 4 inches, at the top about 800.
Whoa.
He says, we closed that road down.
A lot of history in this room right now as far as the highway department goes, holy smokes.
Yeah, my predecessor just passed away here 2 weeks ago. We actually got a picture somewhere of the three of us. Somewhere there's a picture of us.
Yeah. Actually, he originally hired me.
Yeah.
Wow.
Ironically, back in the late 60s when that building went in 70, I lived right around the corner from a gentleman named Ted Burnett, who was notorious for rhododendrons and azaleas.
Yeah.
And he was great friends with Cliff, and I actually was there and helped plant the plants in the tree that are at the highway right now, back in 1970.
Yeah, 69, that's it, 69, that's what we hope.
I don't
Full circle.
I gotta tell you something, I bet you the people watching at home, whatever, are interested in this, because it is snow season, and this is pretty timely conversation. Plus, I'm giving you some leeway, because you're down to 8 days, you know.
6.
Nice try, Tom.
Well, you're talking business days, I'm talking calendared, it's Thursday, whatever. Anyway, well, Paul, I'll hand the baton to you on this next one, we're coming down the pike
Yeah,
here.
the last one is just an asset that we're going to dispose of or recycle. It's a standard registered check signer that we purchased back in 1990. It was usable up to about a year ago, but we found that now we can't get parts for it. So we've decided that it's no longer needed. It was used to produce checks if we needed a check on short notice.
Sure.
Outside of the system.
You won't be offended if we don't spend the next 15 minutes talking about it like we did the high.
No, I don't have too many stories about the
Okay,
check
all right,
register.
so, well, in that case, you're a good man, Paul. I make a motion to declare the following as an asset transfer from the Finance Department for auction or recycling, a standard register check signer asset number 3511.
Second.
Supervisor Flaherty?
Aye?
Councilwoman Cowley?
Aye.
Councilman Cahill?
Aye.
Councilman Abbott?
Aye.
Councilman Dean?
Aye.
And then we only have one thing left on the agenda tonight before we open the phones for a few minutes to anybody at home. And this was a tabled item on the 4th? Yeah. Or was it a tabled item? It was not tabled item 2 weeks ago. Because we didn't have in the resolution the specific dollars for the mowing bid. So before I read it, did the board members have any questions on this? Nope. Okay. Make a motion to award the town mowing services bid to Rochester Lawn Care, Inc. The bid award covers the town parks and town facilities at an annual cost of $3,881 per mow and $594 per additional mow in 2021. $3,921 per mow and $599 per additional mow in 2022, and $3,963 per mow and $604 per additional mow in 2023.
Second.
Supervisor Flaherty?
Aye?
Councilman Cahill?
Aye.
Councilwoman Cody?
Aye.
Councilman Abbott?
Aye.
Councilman Dean?
Aye.
I'd like to specify, if I could, Supervisor, that the additional payment is not for an additional mow, it's to cover athletic fields.
Right, right. And that's, and as I was reading this, that, thank you, Bill, because the additional mow is to the,
Athletic fields.
right, that aren't under the purview of the base for 2021 3881. I will say this, John, I know you were instrumental in this, Glenn Morrell, Chris Bilo. This contract, the way it is written with the per mow cost, it does appear that it will save the town a significant amount of money, and Paul,
It will,
40 grand, wasn't it?
yeah, about 40,000.
And that's comparing prices if they do the same amount of cuts that they do, that were done last year. The advantage of this contract is that we have the ability to call off the mowing being done, and if we have a significantly dry season, which typically we do have. So there's some advantages to this contract.
it actually, and I mean, you know, the little history on this is that also, Paul, was this our first utilization of the best value?
You could say that, because it wasn't based entirely on price. There
Yeah,
were various
right.
criteria
And at a previous
that were used to
workshop or board meeting, Chris Bilo and Glenn Morrell came in and presented why they thought we should take really it was the second lowest
Yes.
bid price, but they explained in great detail why they thought that that was the best choice for the town based on what the low bid appeared to have as maybe some
the equipment inventory.
equipment inventory
Was
and
key.
things like that, so.
They
So
missed
it's-
some specs too in their bid. They were missing too, I think, a
It
little
was
bit.
missing
Yeah.
one of the steps.
Because a government process is the only other thing, or I can't remember, maybe we already done it, is the authorization for the supervisor to sign the contract. Right. Of course, we haven't seen the contract. Okay. So that'll be the next, maybe last resolution pertaining to this mowing bid. And he's not here tonight, but Attorney Genesi and I have a pinky swear deal that I don't sign contracts unless he looks at them.
It's a good pinky swear.
It is a good pinky swear. And then Dolly, once we do an authorization for the supervisor to sign a contract, within a couple of weeks, she's in my office saying, where is that contract that you were authorized to sign? Because I need to store it in the clerk's office. And I get kind of nervous if I haven't found it yet, but we're getting a rhythm on that, right?
Yeah.
So that does finish the formal agenda tonight. Karen, I don't know if you have the phone number across the screen, but if anybody watching at home wants to call in and has a question or comment for the board, the number's 872-7011. And while we're waiting on that, we'll kind of do our going around the room for any comments from people in attendance. And Josh Artuso is in the back of the room tonight, our Director of Community Development. Okay. I'm going to skip you, Joe. I'll let you go last. Bill?
I'm good.
Barry?
I need to make a correction.
Uh-oh.
When we would be plowing, Pete Miscavige and I, we had a metal dash, and we would put rags up on the dash and we'd ignite them.
You put what?
Rags.
Oh, great.
And they would smolder, and we'd have the wing vents open. So the smoke would go up, but it would keep the window defrosted. And we were talking about it in the garage one day, and our parts runner, his name was Al Green, said that he used to have a candelabra on his Brockway dash. So it wasn't us, it was Al Green.
You know, Tom, you know what you call that?
Just had rags on fire.
Call it the good old days.
Yeah, yeah. And no
Now it's
power
referred
steering?
to As a
And
liability.
no power steering, and boy, oh boy, he's talking about sweating bullets, that's what made me think about it, because if you're on the mains driving around, you're okay. As soon as you got into those subdivisions, the windows came down because it was tough.
Yeah.
We could
Actually-
go on and on and on and on.
Actually, we were rolling down the windows, because it does get warm in the cab.
Yeah.
Oh, we can't tell.
I don't have much other than, Joe, I really enjoyed working with you. You're a man of great knowledge and, you're quite entertaining.
Thank you.
I've enjoyed every minute of it.
John?
Joe, gonna miss you. But I still have your cell phone number, so.
I'm not going too far.
I thought John was gonna say something about, Mr. Donahue and Mr. Hoag when they were in here from the health food, because did you feel like you were looking in a mirror when you were looking at those guys?
Absolutely.
That's how they feel every
As he
night.
eats his chocolate. Patty?
I have nothing else to share.
Ally? Okay, well, I'm gonna, go ahead, Joe, you're last up.
Got Billy, didn't you?
No, Billy, we went through.
Did you? Okay.
I'll have my spiel next week, but just as far as a reminder, we have 6 to 7 inches of snow coming Saturday. And as far as vehicle parking and plowing out the roads, it wasn't too bad this past storm. We were geared up, ready at 00:45. We had 26 pieces of equipment ready to go and started out the door. We had, at that point, by 1:30, about 5 or 6 inches down already, with anticipation we were supposed to get up near 20. It never came to fruition, so we had everything wrapped up by like 5:30. Sent the afternoon crew home because they'd been there around the clock. But we didn't run into a whole lot of issues. Some cars parked out there, but people still you can't push it out in the road or across the street, and the garbage cans were ridiculous. They're all out in the road, and I tell the guys, you gotta hold your line, slow down, we're not launching them. They gotta be shoved off the road, because the problem is, if we go around them, and then it's left there,
Yeah.
we expose ourselves to a liability by the snow that's
Yeah.
left in the road.
Right.
So-
How many trucks you run on a full run?
What's that?
You say you run 26 trucks on a full run?
No, not 26 trucks. We actually had 23 trucks out. We had 3 loaders, the backhoe, and the grader. And we can make, what happens is, when we came back from Buffalo, 3 of us went to Buffalo, and they had the 7 feet of snow, and it was an eye-opener. It was
Yeah.
a bigger eye-opener by the lack of cooperation between the state, county, and the towns. And the town, we went to the town of Hamburg, and the town of Hamburg's highway department was confined to just the block where the highway department was located, because they couldn't get across county or state roads because they weren't responsible for plowing them. So we came back, it was Joe, Jeff, and myself came back and sat down and had a game plan. And even though we have 195 cul-de-sacs, we have a complete game plan. And people, I don't know offhand if they think we just go out randomly, but everything is completely assigned throughout the entire town. So we'll have 18 trucks hit the subdivisions, we'll run tandem runs on the main. The 18 main trucks will stay in the subdivisions. At any given time, I'll pull 5 out. And they'll just run the mains. It takes us about 4.5 to 5 hours to do on a complete sweep through towns, 2.5 hours to maintain the mains, and that's with usually 4 trucks and the grader. So we can make a full sweep, excluding the cul-de-sacs. If we have heavy snow or heavy wet snow, it's longer. But we also, coming back from Buffalo, came up with a game plan and said if we ever get into a snow where we're getting 4 or 5 inches an hour, which we haven't had since 77, 78, and 67 before that. But if we ever get snow like that, we would abort the cul-de-sac, spin around and go back out 195. But we are in direct contact with emergency services for fire, police, ambulance. So if they need to get into a cul-de-sac address, we would make arrangements with a loader to make sure that address was accessible. But right now, with our game plan the way we are, this is the first major run that we've actually had, other than one time last year to run it. But with 29 pieces of equipment, we can pretty much get through town in about 4.5 hours and never lose more than 3 or 4 inches of snow on any given road.
Wow.
So we've got it pretty much down to a science, and that's why we get phone calls from, others,
Yeah,
because we are
yeah.
unique in the way that we operate. We do maintain state and county roads, so it gives us the control and jurisdiction to make sure that every resident has service. In the storm of '99, we were the only town in all of Monroe County to have mail service Monday morning after that blizzard. So,
What's the next biggest town
comparatively to Webster as far as the equipment goes that you know when they do a full run? And how many trucks, if you know off the top of your head?
Actually, that's a difficult question, because if you look at Greece and Arundequite and Henrietta with the volumes of road, and when they have roads that are 5, 6, 7 lanes wide,
True.
they have far more equipment. But when it comes down to the service, square miles wise, we'd be more comparable to our neighbor right to the north. But I don't like comparing ourselves. We pioneer our own path.
That's a lot of.
Who's our neighbor to the north?
To the south.
Yeah,
To the south, yeah. That'd be Kingston?
We're not allowed in Canada yet.
So,
I do have to share with you I had a little fun on Tuesday morning with a person who called in to my supervisor's office about complaining that the plows, as they came out of the cul-de-sac, his is the first driveway out, and it dumped 2 feet of snow in front of his driveway. Now, Joe, you know where I live. I live in the first,
I plowed yours for 9 years. I know right where you live.
I'm the first driveway out of a cul-de-sac, and I don't have a plow contract or anything. I have a lot of kids and myself. That's how we get rid of our snow, with shovels, right? So this guy had left a pretty nasty message, Flaherty, what are you going to do about this with the, whatever? So I call him back, and, I'll remain nameless, but, Mike, yeah, this is Tom Flaherty, supervisor. You got 2 feet of snow dropped in front of your house? Yeah, and I said, how'd you get away with that? I had 3.5 feet in front of my house. It's like, what?
Yeah, it does. It would.
I don't get it. I mean, how did you only have 2 feet of snow in front of your house? Because I'm in the first driveway out of a cul-de-sac, and we had 3.5 feet of snow.
And your cul-de-sac that's next to you is unique because it's not a standard. It's teardrop and it's offset, so it's unique in the way that wind rows around there. So, but we're out benching, or AKA shelving right now. We've extended, pushed the wings out, so we're making room for the next snow. The advantage to the shelving, people probably don't realize, but what that does is allow an area for the snow on the end of the wing to unload, so it's not your driveway or your mailbox that receives the brunt of that. So there is a significant purpose.
So the road doesn't get narrower.
Right, exactly. It buys a storage room, and that's what one of the ancillary purposes of a right-of-way is, for additional storage. So we're out there now. Takes about 3 full days to get through town. This is only the second day, not even a full day, so we're gonna try it like hell to get done before Saturday's snow, so we can help relieve some of the burden.
This snow forecast changed since noon today, right?
Yeah. It was supposed to be just 1 or 2 inches or what now, and now it's 6 to 7 Saturday afternoon, by Saturday afternoon. So, not a big deal, but we're out there. Hopefully by tomorrow afternoon, we'll have made probably 90%, if not 100 of the town, and be ready for the next snow.
I just don't know if the citizens of Webster understand just how impressive a plowing and highway department we have.
I actually think most do. I
I
think
hope
most
so.
are very appreciative of the services.
I will say my kids that are at home, they're not. Because they were like, Dad, when you became supervisor, does that mean we won't have 4 feet of snow at the end of the driveway? I said, no, I told the drivers, drop more. You need the workout, get out there with the shovels.
My kids always used to get mad at me because I said, we're not having a snow day today. We're gonna clear the roads, you're going to school.
Right?
That's why I'm leaving for work so early.
Yeah. Well, hey, thank you, everybody. I think that concludes this meeting. We are adjourned.